Okay. So, warm welcome, ladies. I was mentioning that it is an exciting journey today because it's a beautiful and very dear to my heart workshop that I have created for you. And it is with a beautiful divine feminine guide that I have been working with for a few good years now, Mary Magdalene. And as you well know, Mary Magdalene, as a beautiful divine feminine guide, is rising more and more into the consciousness on Earth right now. And she's rising back to the surface, I would say, compared to the underground, where we've kept her for at least 2 millennia. I will explain more about that in a moment. But first, before we start, I would love to do a quick grounding into our hearts because today is going to be a beautiful and loving activation. And at the same time, you may be faced with new information that maybe comes your way for the first time. And so I kindly ask you to be open-minded and open-hearted and take, of course, only what resonates with you and what you recognize as your truth. Because as we see right now happening in the world, there are several truths coexisting at the same time. We can create a reality of conflict or we can create a reality of love. And so I know I for one, I choose the reality of love and collaboration and well-being for all. And I believe that the guide, the Divine Feminine Guide we will work with today stands for that as well, Mary Magdalene. And so without further ado, I'm going to ask you to first stretch a little bit so we kind of activate our body. And the Divine Feminine works a lot with the body. And when you're ready, just bring your shoulders back and simply drop down into your heart so you can close your eyes. I'm going to close my eyes. And I'm inviting you to bring a hand to your heart and a hand to your womb, our power center, our creativity center as women. And let's start by taking a deep breath into the womb, into the heart, and exhaling the air out, landing deeper into your body today. Another deep, deep, and insightful breath into the womb, into the heart, and relaxing, exhaling all the air out. And a final deep, beautiful breath in through the womb, in through the heart. Exhaling gently the air out through the mouth and allowing yourself to gently center. You can bring your attention now to your heart center, and if it feels good for you, you can drop your hands down on your knees. And let's start by setting an intention for this beautiful journey today. I'm going to set the intention that we open our hearts and our minds to the beautiful information, downloads and codes and wisdom and love flowing through for this session, and that we all form a beautiful circle of sisterhood all across the world, and that we are blessed, each and every one of us, on our paths of growth and well-being. And I'm also going to call in the beautiful guide we're going to work with today, Mary Magdalene, as well as the lineage of the Magdalenes that I'm going to speak about in a moment, as well as all the benevolent, loving, healthy, divine wisdom guides that want to be with us for the journey today, as well as your higher self. All of our beautiful higher selves will be here guiding us on the journey today. And if you have an intention, a particular intention that you want to set from your heart, I'm just lovingly holding the space so that you do that in your own time. Okay. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And so it is, and it is so, and it is done. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, and as you bring yourselves back from this grounding first meditation, Just bring more air into your belly, into your heart. Exhale all the air out as you gently come back and open your eyes. And I'm going to welcome into our beautiful circle today, Cosmina. I'm so happy to see you here, dear. Where are you journeying and joining from today, my dear Cosmina? I'm curious where you're, if you're in the UK or somewhere else joining us.
I'm just in Timisoara.
Ah, you're from Romania. Beautiful. I love that.
Yeah.
I'm so happy you're with us in the circle today because we're actually going to touch upon the energy of the UK in a moment,
Oh,
a little bit later, with some very nourishing information.
oh, wonderful.
Warm welcome. And so I want to invite you ladies to share. You can unmute yourselves or you can put your camera on if it feels good to you. I've actually spotlighted myself, so if you don't want to be seen, you're not going to be seen on the recording. I mean, people can only hear you, but they cannot see you like your face unless you want to, and I will spotlight you if you want to. So I would love to, just before we start, to hear your intentions for the journey, because it's an exciting, beautiful guide we're working with today, Mary Magdalene. I'm so happy you're here, Cosmina. I definitely feel, having known you a little bit longer than the ladies, the other two ladies here, that you're also very connected to this beautiful divine feminine guide. Okay, so I saw Meredith unmuting herself. Would you like me to spotlight you,
Sure.
Meredith?
Sure.
Awesome.
I am just out to be in community as often as possible in these kinds of conversations for something possible. It's what I want to do with my life and empower others and also stay empowered. And living alone, I notice is just, when I'm in these conversations or with friends or with community, I feel very at peace. And when I'm alone, I'm working on that still. But I just want to, I feel like the world would be better if we were always, I'd love to wake up in these conversations and then spend the day and then end in these
Oh.
conversations and just be in more of a tribe. So I'm just wanting to facilitate that and using the goddesses for that.
I love that. So be it, and so it is. I was feeling my heart like pumping out of my chest as you were sharing, my dear Meredith, because community is so healing and it's so empowering for all, and it's the energy of the future. So beautiful.
Thank you.
Aho. Amen.
Oh,
And so I want to also ask you, what is the resonance that brought you here today? If you have a particular story already with Mary Magdalene, or if you're just curious to learn more.
I don't know, we'll dive in deep in the goddess activation. I'm just curious about her recently. Uh, and I think I'm correct about this in that she's known as the wife of
Of
Jesuit or
Yeshua, of Jesus, yes.
Yeshua. And so I'm just very curious about that story. I've always believed in God and universe, but I've never really known her story. And also embracing my feminine energy, wanting to feel more feminine, more flow, vibrant, wanting to feel, I feel like I'm still 30 inside, but my body's not reflecting it. So I'm always just trying to embrace
Me
that.
too. Oh, bless you. I love that. So beautiful. Thank you. So powerful. And I feel you're speaking as each of you you share for the whole group as well. Like I believe and you have such a beautiful way to share that I believe everyone here, raise your hands, can resonate with your story. Thank you so much, Meredith.
Thank you.
So that's wonderful. We've heard from Meredith. Anyone else would like to share your intention for today? And yeah,
I can
awesome.
share a
Cosmina.
little bit. Sorry, I'll keep my camera. I've just
No
taken
worries.
a shower and I'm in my
Optional.
PJs.
Oh,
But
that's so yummy. So perfect that you just took a shower. It's like you just lay back and receive. That's amazing.
Exactly. This is exactly
You
the
will love
plan, and
this.
then I'm gonna go to sleep. No, yeah, I don't know. I'm at a difficult time in my life when I'm finding myself having to care for my mom for a little bit. And she's well, and I feel like we've received so much sort of divine support through it. Everything that could have gone well went very well. And I am full of hope for her, but I'm also in need of nourishment for myself. And I was thinking that I don't know, it was my birthday yesterday as well, and
Oh,
yeah, yeah,
blessed, happy
yeah.
birthday.
Thank you. And last year for my birthday, I went to the south of France together with my mom and my sister and her
Mm.
family. And one of the things that we did last year was go in a pilgrimage at Sambon, where, of course, Mary Magdalene was. So, and I didn't really connect. I don't know. It's, for this workshop to happen at the same time a year later. I thought it would be a good idea to sort of connect to that time last year and to that energy and to learn more actually about, the person that I saw so close last year. So yeah, a bit of support, a bit of guidance. I think that's a bit of
Hmm.
remembering the past and
Yeah.
thinking that things will be okay again. So yeah.
And so they will. Yeah, I'm feeling like the energy of a warm hug for you
No.
right now. Thank you so much for sharing that. I know the difficult journey you've been on recently with your mom. God bless her. I'm happy to hear that everything that went well, that was supposed to go well, went well. And wow, such a sacred site that you visited. Last year. So Saint Balm for all the ladies here or those watching the replay. Saint Balm actually is the cave in the south of France where legend has it. There's going to be a lot of legends and stories today, shared mythology, but at the same time, there's no smoke without fire. Like everything that is shared, if it resonates with you, I would say keep it because it's very interesting, and I'm very grateful to, for example, people like Dan Brown who repopularized or brought back into the awareness of the masses, brought back Mary Magdalene. And I will share actually that she has been back into the awareness of the into the specifically into our awareness since the end of the Second World War. I'll give you some more information about that in a moment. Through her manuscript that was discovered in Egypt. But before we go into that, just quickly to reference something that Cosmina touched upon. So Saint Balm is the cave where in the south of France, where the story says that Mary Magdalene spent the final 30 years of her life in meditation, and from where she ascended. I'm so happy to see also Sidonia, who just joined us. Hello, beautiful soul sister as well. I really feel my intention actually for the journeys together is that we come together in sacred sisterhood and we support one another. So I want to welcome Sidonia. Hello, dear. We were just sharing our intentions. Okay.
Hello, everyone. I just unmuted myself for
Yes,
a
please.
tiny bit just to say hi. I'm sorry I'm late, but I'm super happy to be here. I'm actually honored. And yes, this lovely workshop came into a time of need, I must say. I recently lost my grandpa and I
Oh.
am home for the funeral. Yes, it was yesterday and it was a very nice goodbye in his honor. So I'm very happy that I could attend. And also, I think my intention here today is to, reignite my feminine leadership and to kind of see the light at the end of the tunnel, if you may. Because, in these times of loss, sometimes we tend to, I don't know, I don't want to say lose the light, but maybe we don't see the light at the end of the tunnel as much and inside of us, as
Mhm.
feminine um, leadership in terms of feminine leadership. So I think this gathering it came at a very nice time. So thank you so much. I'm honored to be here.
And I'm honored that you're here, my dear. Thank you so much. And I'm sending many blessings. May he rest in peace, your beautiful grandpa. You are lucky to have had your grandpas and grandmas for so long. Um, Mines have already all passed. God bless them too. God bless their souls. So you're in Romania right now, Sidonia?
Yes, that's
Okay.
correct. I'm here until Tuesday. And just to share one word that comes into my mind, and it was playing in my mind throughout the whole week, come to the funeral, and the word is legacy. Okay, so, and I want to, yes,
I
I
feel
have
the
goosebumps as I say
goosebumps.
that, and I have literally tear in my eyes because yes, that's the word that I felt throughout the whole time. So this is my intention towards a legacy, you know, personal and also, family and on a worldwide as well, like on a bigger scale. So legacy, that's my word for today. The intention as
Oh.
well.
Yes, so be it, and so it is, my beautiful Sidonia. I will say this before I go to Whitney to and kindly ask her to share as well her intention. That our ancestors, in a way, our ancestors, all of our ancestors, all of our lineages keep living through us, and every victory, small or big, that we have in our lives, every breakthrough, every new thing, in terms of both work and personal life that we get to live, experience, embody, that we our souls truly wanted to, and that our hearts truly want to live and be and embody, when we get to experience that, they celebrate with us. I was reflecting with a friend very recently that the kind of life we live as women nowadays, to be independent, to be earning an income on our own, to be living in most cases on our own. Yeah, we're renting or where we have our own property, to be traveling the world from country to country. Like, oh my goodness, this is the kind of life that our grandmas and grandpas, God bless them, they could have never imagined for themselves, but they get to rejoice and celebrate and be happy for us as we live these lives. Every generation, if they build truly a legacy, like you're saying, Sidonia, they go one step further. They always go one step further or several steps further. And so we do honor to our ancestors when we follow our dreams, no matter what our dreams are. But we truly do honor to our ancestors when we go all in for our dreams. So thank you,
Mhm.
Sidonia. Whitney, what would be your intention for the session today?
Okay. Hi, guys. My intention for the session is personal growth, as well as mental health. Um, I'm a mom of three kids.
Oh,
Um, yeah, and I've been through like a lot of trauma for the past 13 years through my marriage, but I'm recently divorced. Yeah, so basically I need a lot of self growth and yeah, encouragement. Um, yeah, I'm focusing mostly on building myself currently
mm-hmm.
before I can actually be an impact in someone else's life. Yeah,
So be it, my dear Whitney. So beautiful. And
thank you.
motherhood is one of the definitely most important journeys a woman can choose to take in her life. So celebrating you as a mom to be in our circle here today. And so be it in terms of personal growth and well-being. May you keep rising and shining. Thank
Thank you
you.
so much.
Okay, so without further ado, I'm going to actually share a little bit of in terms of the work we're gonna go into today. It's more work and play at the same time because, as I mentioned earlier, Mary Magdalene is one of my favorite guides, and for a lot of women, she's becoming a beautiful guide nowadays. And therefore, it's definitely fun and loving to be working with her, as you will see in a moment. So there are many perspectives from which we can approach Mary Magdalene as a guide and learn about her story. The particular perspective I chose today is self-leadership. So we're going to go into inner leadership. And for the activation that I've prepared for you today, there's going to be a major part of it will be to release inner blocks that you have faced recently when it comes to your own leadership. And I'm going to use the word legacy work that you want to create in the world. We're going to release some very important inner blocks, and we are going to also, at the same time, empower you to step forward and to keep living your dreams. And before I go into the journey itself, I'm gonna actually greet one more person who just joined. Hello, Yolanda. We just finished sharing our intentions for the journey today. Do you have a beautiful particular intention you want to share with us? And please let us know where you're joining in from. Can you hear me, Yolanda? Ah, okay. You are writing in the chat. Yes, you can write in the chat as well. Or you can unmute yourself if you are not in traffic, that is. Okay, as you're writing down the intention, I'm going to continue going back to the slides I was just sharing. And so here are briefly the principles for the journey, the intentions I've set also for us as a group, that we open our hearts fully to receive today and to anchor these beautiful codes that I'm going to go through today. You're going to receive 2 activation keys. That everyone present is an active contributor. As you can see, my style in terms of facilitation is that everybody gets involved, everybody gets engaged, and everybody has their voices heard. Because in my own experience, when your voice is heard, you get to speak for so many others as well. People who could not be here today, and also those who are present, because we can all find one another in each other's stories. The third intention is that we honor, love, and see each other as sisters. One of the most beautiful things women can do today for one another is to heal the sisterhood wound that I'm going to speak to in a moment, and to actually learn once again to honor, to cherish one another, and to cherish each of our sacred wisdom and knowledge. And the fourth intention is, of course, that this workshop today benefits the highest and greatest good of you and of all. So I'm going to share a little bit about my own journey with the Divine Feminine and with Mary Magdalene in particular. So the Divine Feminine, first of all, was my own journey, came into my life when I was going through a journey of deep healing, in the sense that I had externally achieved a lot in my life, from 3 masters in business in 3 different countries to at some point having reached the position of head of learning and development for a 3,000 people company. At the same time, I was a one-person department running the department for 3,000 people. So working with a big multinational in Africa. So on paper, everything looked great. Everything looked like I was a high achiever. But what I noticed and realized about myself as I navigated a very severe burnout, as well as a relationship breaking down, I had to actually step in and realize that I was an overgiver, and to actually step in, have the final conversation, and step out of that relationship, even though it propelled me into deep grief, but it was a very important turning point in my life, because that severe burnout and that relationship ending taught me that I was functioning from an internal imbalance. So that meant that I was overgiving and overdoing, and I had forgotten to just be, to reflect, to understand what I really, really want to do in life. And also to be in the sense of enjoying life, enjoying myself as a human being, to be in that energy of love and nourishment that the feminine encourages us to be in. Ultimately, at the end of the day, we are human beings more than we are human doings, and that's what we're also here to remember. And as most of society, I realized I was overly living in my head and disconnected from my body, from my feelings, from my heart. And so, in the midst of the grief and of the changes that I was going through, I actually had a dream one night with goddess Isis. She was the first divine feminine guide that appeared in my dreams. I had very little notion of what a guide is back then. But then I went further down the line. The next year, I went and studied Akashic Records readings. I started connecting to my own beautiful team of guides. And I realized, first of all, we have guides for different parts of our lives. We have also guides for well-being, for protection, and also for achieving our mission, for achieving our purpose. And Isis, in particular, as a guide and as a goddess, as a divine feminine guide, she is, if you look her up, is the goddess of alchemy and magic and love. And interestingly, yes, the goddess of love, the Egyptian goddess of love and of the heavens, appeared in my life when I was going through grief. After waking up that morning, after having the dream with her, and it's interesting, by the way, we're touching upon Africa here. Whitney. Whitney is with us from South Africa. So it's beautiful that we're bringing in an African goddess too in this conversation. The following day, I woke up after having that dream with absolutely no pain in my heart, in my chest. The grief had been lifted. And I was able to breathe again. I was able to have hope again. I was able to finally allow myself to have a glimpse of hope and of the idea that maybe things will come back to normal in my life. And maybe this was just a phase, which was the case, the grief. And I was meant to come out of it on the other side more empowered and more like my true self. And truly, I will say this, every stage of grief in our life that we go through, whether it's like Sidonia mentioned, the loss of a loved one, or grief for coming out of a relationship, every stage of grief we go through in our life is like the peeling of an onion. The onion does not disappear. I mean, the core of the onion doesn't disappear. It's still there. And what it does to us is that it actually strips us bare so that we can reconnect again to our hearts because I really came back to the fundamental questions in life. This whole period made me come back to the fundamental question in life. One of them being, what am I actually here to be and do? And so when I asked myself those questions, I started taking different decisions in life. And so after leaving the company I was in, I gave myself permission to experience a sabbatical year and to go study and learn all of the disciplines that I was curious about for the longest of times. Disciplines such as Theta Healing that you're going to experience today. Theta Healing being a method to work with our mind, to work with our subconscious and release limiting beliefs and reprogram ourselves. Breath work, Akashic Records reading, so understanding the work with the guides. And through that whole year of sabbatical and the years that followed, I had more and more, as I opened myself to the world that wanted to open itself to me, the world of the guides and of the heart wisdom and of coaching. One of the guys that came to in my reality is Mary Magdalene. But not only, more and more goddesses appeared along the way at different stages of my journey. Now, I will mention this for those of you who are very recent. or curious to the work with the goddesses, that goddesses have existed since ancient times. They are simply divine feminine archetypes. What do I mean by that? They are faces, right? Faces of the divine that exist within all of us. Whether you work with divine masculine archetypes or with divine feminine archetypes, they are a facet, a potentiality within ourselves and a facet of the divine. Because ultimately, I do believe, and more people I see are coming to this conclusion, that the divine lives and breathes through each and every one of us, and through every drop of water, and through every grass, um, every string of grass, and through every two pairs of eyes that looks back at you. And so yes, the goddesses, coming back to the goddesses, they are a facet of the divine. And they all, if you notice and you read into mythology, they all stand for a different quality of the divine feminine. Now, Mary Magdalene in particular, I would say, is one of those guides. She's been declared a saint as well recently by officially by the church. Very interestingly, in 2019, I will tell you that story in a moment. But Mary Magdalene is one of those guides I would say that is best experienced individually. So she may represent one thing for you, she may represent another thing for another person. For me in particular, I came to understand her as an empowering guide for authenticity. So she's here to empower us women with authenticity, with standing into our authentic power. And she's here to empower us with the divine partnership in all ways, but particularly divine partnership in love. So she's such a wonderful guide to work with. When she first appeared in my life, Mary Magdalene was in a place called the heart chakra of the earth. If you research a little bit on it, Glastonbury, UK, during my sabbatical year. So as I mentioned earlier, during 2019, I took a year off, a sabbatical. Very interestingly, my guides in meditation were telling me this is the year to go travel. Like they were begging me, please go travel now. And I'm so happy that I did so because I didn't know what was coming in 2020, that we would all be under lockdown. And by the end of 2019, I reached Portugal, where I'm currently living as well, and where I was guided to come live. And so in 2019, I became curious about such a beautiful, about holistic practices and holistic well-being, a wealth and a depth of practices. And my search took me to research the energy centers of the earth. And in Europe, in particular, the heart chakra of the earth is considered to be Glastonbury, UK. Has anybody here been to Glastonbury before? I would love to ask that and to see if any of you can share it in the chat. Please do share if you have been. If not, I'm gonna mention a little bit more here. So the two photos you see here are actually from the Chalice Wells. It's a beautiful sacred place in Glastonbury where you palpably feel the sweetness, the beauty, and the love of life. Like it's one of those, it's unlike any place I've been to before. Um, and these waters are considered to be healing waters that run through, and in particular this well, and that run through Glastonbury. Many places on Earth hold healing waters, and Glastonbury does so too. Now, there's something else that is interesting about Glastonbury. The legend has it that this is the place where the famous Avalon, which is referring to the court of King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table and Queen Guinevere, used to be. And it is my conviction, I would say, so I'm giving you another facet of the story. It is my conviction that they were somehow connected to to lineages such as the Knights Templar in Portugal that continued, and all going all the way back to uh, Mary Magdalene and Yeshua. They were preserving the wisdom, the lost wisdom. Even if you look at the principle of the circle, right? The Knights of the Round Table, that's a circle. So that symbolizes, and the king himself, King Arthur, would sit at that table, meaning that he's not above the others nor below the others. They are all equals. So that principle of we are all equals. We all hold important pieces of wisdom to be brought together. We can only have the complete picture once all of our wisdom comes together. That sacred knowledge that Yeshua, and I'm going to refer to Jesus, by the way, as Yeshua in his Aramaic name. This is the kind of wisdom that Jesus and Mary Magdalene were teaching about this principle of equality, of the fact that we all hold within our hearts deep wisdom to be shared and to be lived, to be embodied on earth. And so I felt really called and pulled to this place. And I had previously been initiated to do Akashic readings and to connect to my team of guides. And what happened to me when I reached this particular place in Glastonbury, the Chalice Wells, the chalice refers to the Grail as well, or the Holy Grail. When I reached this particular place, I connected to a community of guides that introduced themselves to me as the Magdalenes. And so I became very curious. I'm gonna stop sharing for a moment, um, th- just so that you can see this as I share it. I became very curious. Initially, I was asking this beautiful team of guides that introduced themselves to me as the Magdalenes in plural, but isn't there one Mary Magdalene? And they said yes, of course, but they introduced themselves as Magdalene priestesses. And that's all they had to share with me. And they shared beautiful poems. So I wrote, as I was sitting on the grass in Chalice Wells, I started channeling and writing beautiful poems, beautiful poetry that is very, I call it healing poems, healing poetry. And that is very much related to the divine feminine. And I hope one day, at some point, I will be able um, to find the time to publish these divine feminine healing poems. What was coming through was very beautiful, super uplifting, super grounding at the same time, and super loving. And I was also shown the next place in the next few days. They guided me towards the next place where to live, which is where I am now, Portugal. I felt this whole presence, this whole community, right? To come back to Meredith and what she was saying about community, I felt this whole community so loving, so empowering, so beautiful. And what happened is that over the next few years, 2020 to 2025, and up until last year, I started receiving into my reality collections of books about the divine feminine. And in one of the, especially books about Mary Magdalene, but not only. And these are channeled, in most cases, it's channeled texts, channeled books. I will say the following. In 1945, there were archaeologists that discovered in a location called Nag Hammadi in Egypt, 1945. They discovered what are called the lost manuscripts that were taken out of the official Bible, out of the and out that were not put together with the existing New Testament. And those manuscripts that they discovered in Nag Hammadi in 1945 include the voices of the women. There's the manuscript of Mother Mary, there's the manuscript of Mary Magdalene, and there's several manuscripts of other apostles that were not included in the official version of the New Testament because they touch on controversial topics, such as some of the apostles speak about reincarnation. And especially the women voices, Mother Mary and Mary Magdalene, speak about the fact that there is that the divine exists again in everything and everyone, and that some of the purest connection we can receive and have with the divine is actually in nature. So again, pretty controversial topics at that time for the church that was building, because they wanted there was an agenda that up to a certain point obviously still is in place today. They wanted to always have an intermediary when it came to the connection to the above, to the divine. That's why I've been in countries where if I mention to people that, yeah, I meditate and I love to connect to wisdom coming from my heart, or connect directly to the divine, I've been to countries where I was told, please don't say that again. And I understand at the same time, because we are we are raised in a certain culture, and we bear the marks and the programming of that culture, of that society. But at the same time, the times that we live in are encouraging us to think for ourselves and to be quick on our feet, and to also, I would say it's pretty crucial in these times to develop your own connection to to higher wisdom. Whether you meditate, whether you go for a jog or for a walk in the park and you receive downloads and wisdom, have you noticed that some people actually get ideas about whether, when they're stuck about something, when they have to make a decision at work and they go for a walk to freshen up their mind, suddenly they receive a download. So some people are more active and they receive information, higher wisdom, in an active process, such as jogging and running or under the shower. And others need to quiet down, to be silent in order to receive. There's no best way. Um, but it's important in these times that we develop our own connection, because that's what will help us sift through the noise, the external noise that is happening right now. And this is what Mary Magdalene and Jesus were actually teaching. What I can do, you can do, and so much more. They were not saying, oh, come to this person and pray to them and do, well, in Romanian it's called acatiste. um, I don't know, do 5 Hail Marys and you shall be saved. They were saying, develop your own connection. And no, they were also saying, we are not sinners. They were saying, we can be redeemed. Uh, 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 uh. I'm going to read through the messages in a while. We are not sinners, and we are born worthy. We are born divine. We are born divine. We are born worthy. We are born loving and in love. Now, I'm not saying here, I just want to make it clear for everybody, I'm not saying not to follow a particular line, a particular religion that you're in. For example, I'm going to go back to what Sidonia was sharing. Um, all of my all of my grandpas and grandmas, bless them, they have received the Christian rites, which I believe, I mean, are very, very beautiful in terms of their funerals. Everybody's been christened. I still, up to a certain point, I respect all, and I honor all religions. And at the same time, I feel that I'm here to claim a deeper truth that is not spoken about necessarily openly. And that deeper truth is actually pointed to, if you look, for example, in Christianity, it is pointed to by the Gnostics. They are called the Gnostics. And the Gnostics refer to all of the saints that kind of went on their own and meditated high up on a rock and realized, like the Buddha, oh, I can receive wisdom. I can receive information. I can connect to my heart. I can have and form a loving life, like Saint Francis of Assisi and so many saints all across Europe and the world that appeared. And they're called Gnostics because they have access to the gnosis, to the higher wisdom. But how do they have access to the higher wisdom? Because they cultivate a connection from within, a direct connection to the divine. So I'm gonna read some comments from the chat here. Uh-huh. Okay, Jolanda is sharing she does not receive messages anymore. I stay too long in places where I'm unwanted, need to leave first. Yes, sure. I mean, that is definitely not an easy situation to be in. And I would say receiving messages also can be as simple as an impulse. If your body is telling you, I'm not safe here, I want to be somewhere else, listen to that impulse. So messages doesn't have to come as in complex sentences. It can be as simple as an impulse that you have. So it's still a way to receive messages. In my own opinion, I would say we never lose that connection. When I remember doing in a circle of people back in 2020 an Akashic reading, and we were all receiving messages about where the world is heading in 2020, right? And what I was shown, and I'm very happy to share it here with you ladies, because you're all incredible human beings and incredible divine beings. What I received and what I was shown is very similar to what others in the circle were receiving, and that is what was actually happening on Earth in 2020 and beyond that year. I saw a lot of, first of all, I was shown from up above the Earth with a lot of people in gray, like with a gray cloud above them. And at some point, certain people in the crowd started having a light from within that started shining and shining more brightly. And that light from within was reaching other people nearby them, and it was activating them. And then that light was spreading all across the earth, and the cloud was lifting as people were waking up to their own, I would say, truth, to their own connection to their heart, to what they truly want to be and do. So follow your heart, as they say, right? So those lights multiplied across the earth, and that allowed the clouds to be lifted. And then I saw that all of the heavier, lower, denser forces on earth were being lifted, like with fisherman nets. I'm gonna use that's the metaphor I saw. With fisherman nets, they were being lifted and sent back to the divine to be recycled, because everyone who is doing wrong on earth right now, in the sense of, I'm gonna mention very briefly the Epstein files and all of those wrongdoings, is ultimately will have to answer for it. But they're, that kind of energy is not, with all more and more people being activated into their love, into truth, and into well-being, that kind of energy can no longer exist on Earth for the long run. It's going to be taken out of this dimension, out of this reality. So I have high hopes for the Earth. I'm the, you can call me an eternal optimist, but I have high hopes. Um, so I'm gonna go back to sharing very briefly. So that was my first encounter with Mary Magdalene. It was actually through the Magdalenes, the community of priestesses that were connected to her. And how they were connected to her is that as I was reading one of the books from the whole collection I had, I've accumulated of divine feminine teachings. I stumbled upon the book that I highly recommend of Stuart Wilson and Joanna Prentice. Now, Stuart Wilson and Joanna Prentice are not channelers. They are hypnotherapists. And what they have been doing all of their lives is they have been documenting all of all of the sessions that they did. They are past life hypnotists, and so people who come to their sessions, they are regressed into past lives. And they had the privilege, I would say, to receive in their office people who were remembering pieces of the puzzle, that is, pieces of their lives in the times of Yeshua and Mary Magdalene. And so that is how they published this book called, they actually published two books on Mary Magdalene. And this book is called, in particular, that speaks about the Magdalene priestesses, is called The Power of the Magdalene, the hidden story of the women disciples. And in this book, they actually publish not their own opinion, but their only the transcripts of the sessions that they did for people coming into their office. And they published specifically the transcripts of the sessions that refer to Mary Magdalene and Yeshua. And a lot of people were speaking of the fact that there were not only male disciples, male apostles, but there were feminine apostles as well, and they were erased out of the history, out of the official his story. And yeah, it's this is a lesser known fact that there were feminine apostles too. And what happened actually, according to a lot of these stories after the crucifixion, is that given the fact that it was very dangerous for all the adepts and all the, I would say, all the people around who had lived around Jesus to stay in Jerusalem, the women, together with Joseph of Arimathea, who was the uncle of Jesus, they fled. And most, of course, legends say that they fled to the south of France. And they spread their teachings all across Europe. And this particular book speaks about the fact that Mary Magdalene reached as far in her travels as far as the British Isles, the UK, and in particular Glastonbury, the heart chakra of the earth, where she met the Druidic priestesses, because back then you had the Celtic tribes, and the Celtic tribes also had a way of spirituality that was very connected to the earth, and they had their own gods and goddesses, different facets of the divine. And they had their own Celtic priestesses. And so legend has it, in the stories in this book, you will discover that Mary Magdalene's teachings of love, of connection to nature, of the fact that we are intrinsically connected to the divine, and we should honor and respect one another, because doing harm to another means doing harm to the divine and doing harm against yourself. So these type of teachings resonated deeply with the Druidic priestesses as well. And so they came together and they created a new lineage called the besides the official Druidic priestesses lineage, called the Magdalenes. And so that's a very interesting story. I for one resonated with it. I don't know if you resonate. Again, take what resonates and leave the rest. But definitely, I do resonate with these stories, and I could feel tangibly, particularly in the Chalice Wells and in Glastonbury Abbey, I could feel the presence, the suave, the beautiful presence of the Divine Feminine. And interestingly, in Glastonbury Abbey, there is a chapel who seems to be dedicated to Queen Guinevere, but she is portrayed in a way that references Mary Magdalene in a red robe. The blue robes were very characteristic to Mother Mary, and the red robe or the red rose is very characteristic of Mary Magdalene. So we've touched extensively up until now, I would say, in terms of who is Mary Magdalene, all of the channelings, and also the manuscript that was discovered of Mary Magdalene speak about the fact that she was the official partner of in her life of Jesus, and that the wedding of Canaan was actually the wedding where Jesus transformed the water into wine, and he performed the miracles of giving fish and bread to everybody, was actually their own wedding to whom a lot of people had come, and from all across the world, from all across the hills and the valleys, and therefore there was not enough food. But that's where he performed the miracles. And the more real story about Mary Magdalene and Mother Mary is that they were not common women, they were priestesses. And in particular, Isis priestesses. They had been trained in many traditions, but one of them was the Egyptian tradition of Isis, of alchemy. So transforming the lower, heavier, denser energies into higher frequencies. So transforming, that's what happened to me in 2018. Before my sabbatical, I was guided into transforming grief back into love, back into serenity, and back into peace. So I will mention also something very quickly that's important here in the story, in the arch of the story, is that what supports the fact that Mary Magdalene was never a prostitute, as we were told about her, is the fact that the Pope himself, Pope Francis, bless him, who passed, Pope Francis was the first pope to sanctify Mary Magdalene and to give her own feast on the 22nd of July. And if you research it or if you Google it, you will see that in the official decree, when he made Mary Magdalene a saint, he declared it's written ink on paper. It was declared by the church that she was never a prostitute and she is never to be referred to as such. And so it took the church 2000 years to come out of the closet with Mary Magdalene. And I would say one of the reasons why that is so is the manuscripts that were discovered in 1945. But what happened also in 1945, if you think about it, it was the end of the Second World War. So the world had something else bigger to celebrate at that point. That's why they kind of went a little bit, let's say, underrated up until the 1990s, with when there was a renewed interest in Mary Magdalene. And since then, there has been so many books that were written or channeled about Mary Magdalene, and culminating, I would say, with a very popular commercial, Dan Brown's The Da Vinci Code. But they're all referencing the same story that Mary Magdalene was the official partner of Jesus. And to think about it rationally, right? Let's eliminate any hypothesis out of it, but to think about it rationally, I mean, it would make sense for somebody who's an ascended master that helps all of humanity to embody both the inner union and the outer union. What do I mean by that? The inner union is the union of your own inner masculine and feminine, your ability to be the best you can be and do the best you can do, as well as the outer union. So having a partner that is an equal, not below or above, a partner that is an equal that also embodies the inner union. And to be honest, that sort of reality was not supported in those times, because like the people, these type of masters were not supported, obviously, because there was the in that era that it was the height of the Roman Empire, and it was a deeply patriarchal society where women had no role other than being moms in society. I'm seeing some comments here. I'm gonna stop for a moment and see how does this resonate with you ladies, what I have shared, if anything at all resonates. I'm gonna read Sidonia's comment. Speaking of signs, yesterday after the funeral, I meditated and asked my grandpa and spirit guides for a sign regarding a question I had about legacy. And during the evening, I took some pictures of the sky because I thought it's beautiful. And while rewatching the pictures I took, I came across this beautiful halo. Yes, I can see the halo. Thank you for sharing the beautiful picture with us, Sidonia. I strongly believe it was the answer to my question and prayers. Yes, I can feel that. It's so beautiful. Okay, yes, Whitney is sharing that she's still learning. Yeah, I'm still learning as well, Whitney. I'm still learning about Mary Magdalene and all these beautiful guides, and also we are all on our journeys of learning and growth. As long as we're in a human body, we're all both human and divine, right? And we're here to do the merge. Um, Anyone else has some reflection about everything that I've shared?
Well, I was just noticing how it just seems like the more we study female leadership and female, how did you describe them, Alina? The goddesses are
Archetypes?
archetypes, right? The more that it just seems like they were hidden and diminished, right? That they were so powerful, and the world has just been afraid of that. I mean,
Mm.
men are extraordinary. I'm not gonna, I know there's a
Yeah,
lot of wonderful male energy, but a lot of males also, I think, just we're so scared of that and they've diminished the power of the female. And it's
true.
so interesting that it got so backwards that we then had to fight for women's rights.
Yeah, yeah, we had to come back to women's rights. That's absolutely true. Very, very true, my dear. Yeah, great point. Um, Thank you. Thank you for that, Meredith. Okay, so I'm gonna continue very quickly to be mindful of time too. We're gonna have a loo break just before we go into the meditation later. But I mean, if you need the one before, please honor your body's needs. Um, just to mention that ultimately, I believe that Mary Magdalene is one of the many saints and divine feminine guides that are coming back to the forefront. That's why so many people are feeling that connection or noticing synchronicities with her or going to sacred sites connecting to her, or just feeling called. Simply, I hear so many women lately saying, I feel called to learn more about Mary Magdalene for some reason. So it's very interesting. And I believe that the main reason is because one, she's here to have us see that authentic leadership, our own inner leadership, is the key. And two, I believe that ultimately she represents the journey, more or less the journey of every woman, in the sense that have you noticed that especially our generation and the generations before us really had to kind of fight for standing up when it comes to any position of leadership that we've had. We've had to, whether you're in academia or in business, or sometimes women have had to work double or at least a little bit more than men to prove themselves. I remember when I was in the corporate world, I definitely had like I was running a whole department, but I noticed being in HR, I noticed that sometimes if I looked at the salary bands of other people in the company, especially male, they were paid more than I was, although I was doing double the work. So I believe that in a sense, Mary Magdalene is showing us that journey of coming out of the shadows into the light and coming and stepping fully into our power, into our sovereign empowerment, because that's what's also happening to her. That's why so many women are being drawn to read and learn more about her. So I did mention this, that she was an initiate of Isis, but I believe ultimately she had been initiated in many different lineages of the goddess, much like Jesus has had since 12 to 33 has disappeared. There's a whole missing piece about his life from the New Testament. And those years were actually formative years for him, where a lot of channelings about him say that he traveled the world and he got initiated also into Celtic wisdom, Tibetan wisdom, Indian wisdom, Egyptian wisdom. He learned from all over the world in order to distill the wisdom that he came to. He learned from several beautiful cultures. And similarly, I believe that Mary Magdalene learned from many different goddess lineages. Isis, and it was the Egyptian one, was just one of them. So the sacred connection, Saint Anna, Mother Mary, Mary Magdalene, refers to the fact that they were all initiated priestesses. Um, the mother of Mother Mary, Saint Anna, was also a high priestess, and the wisdom sometimes was passed on. And ultimately, Mary Magdalene stands for authentic leadership, as I mentioned earlier, and we will be fully comfortable to integrate her in our lives and collective consciousness when women become even more comfortable with being seen as leaders, assuming roles of leadership globally and in being also in partnership. So I'm going to reference here the story of priestesses because I believe it's an important piece of the puzzle. So the priestess as an archetype herself, priestesses were actually women that were identified at birth and in their teenagehood as endowed women. That means they had special skills and talents, whether that was seeing, telepathy, or healing gifts, or speaking gifts, oratory gifts, or writing gifts. They were women that were discovered to have special talents. And those women, pre-Roman Empire and pre-Greek society, in the more ancient societies, they were identified as and usually stepped into roles of priestesses. So priestesses were women that had access to higher wisdom, as I mentioned earlier, as oracles, strategists, clairvoyants, poets, healers, herbalists, you name it. All the skills, medicine women, all the skills you can think about on earth. And their role was to actually act as stewards of that wisdom. That's why there were temples that they were functioning in. Uh, their their unit, yes, was in a temple, so to speak. Their role was to be guardians of that wisdom. And so people would go, let's say, to a healer, a herbalist, or a priestess, right, to receive downloads or to receive healing, to receive wisdom. In a sense, I would say yes, they kind of acted as intermediaries. And I would say that in this day and age, the inner priestess is rising in all of us women, because I believe it's an archetype that we all can have access to. Ultimately, I will associate the priestess to that part of our psyche that represents wisdom as a woman. The part of us, there are parts of us that represent love and sensuality and flow. There are parts of us that represent power. And there's a part of us that represents wisdom. And the part of us that represents wisdom, that means our lived experience as well as our skills and talents that we naturally have and that we develop or that we develop. That part of us is the priestess. Now, this archetype was actually put down by the advent of the Roman Empire and this logic that you still see prevalent in certain societies today, this logic of men over women or the patriarchal structures. It's very hard to see a woman, winning in elections nowadays, isn't it? That speaks like very much about the mentality that is sometimes still prevalent in at the global level, not individually, but at the global level. Um, how they were put down, interestingly, is that their temples were burned down. I have memories. I've done a past life regression. I've several, but in one of those lives, I was inside an Isis temple, and the soldiers were standing outside the temple, just about to burn the temple. So those temples, in some cases, they were closed, they were torn apart, they were burned. And that kind of created a bit of a trauma in the collective psyche that reflects itself as nowadays as, we shy away somehow from positions of power, or we sometimes don't feel as worthy as men to earn as much as them. So it's very interesting. But it's so important that we claim back this power, this archetype, because the priestess ultimately represents wisdom, the third eye, and visionary leadership. It's about seeing into future possibilities. It's about seeing and feeling before taking action. Because if we only madly take action, I'm not going to reference any politician or heads of state here, but if we only act from impulse, we create destruction and war and conflict. But when we first attune to the wisdom that is flowing through us, we attune to our heart, we attune to the divine, then we take more, I would say, wiser actions. So this is again an archetype that lives in every woman and in every man. There's the priest, right, or the magician. She's knowledgeable, she's sought for advice, she's wise, she's visionary. It's also the part of us that is highly empathic, can sense energy, and can work with energy. She's the part of us that has healthy boundaries. She knows what she wants to build as well. She's the part of us that is visionary and wisdom oriented and very grounded, focused, clears away interferences, and she goes after her dreams. Um, However, I will say that, as mentioned earlier, given the past history of priestesses being uh, kind of taken away, from any positions of leadership in society, there's still kind of this collective wound that is a persecution wound, both for men and women, because men as well have had their own past lives, that actually manifests as shying away from expressing our true gifts. Like I know so many people that healers or even herbalists, even or people that work with, let's say this dynamic, the healing dynamic, the loving dynamic between the divine feminine and the divine masculine, that had a shyness when it came to coming forth with their gifts. Um, or it also manifests from by shying away from acknowledging to others the fact that, hey, in my own time, in my own way, like Sidonia was sharing, I connect to my guides. She was saying she's connecting to her guides. She's asking for signs. She has an active, open avenue, open relationship to the divine and to life that flows through her. So when we shy away from that, that kind of may symbolize the fact that there's a part of our psyche, of our subconscious, that's either this or other lives connected to maybe it wasn't safe to express those gifts. And so, how we can start shifting when we claim back those qualities of the inner priestess, of the wisdom, how we can make it safe again when we heal that wound within ourselves. And that's what I'm going to focus on primarily in the meditation today, claiming back our inner priestess qualities as well as healing the priestess wound. We gain the confidence to show ourselves fully back at work. We don't shy away from stepping up. We go after our dreams and callings, knowing, because it's one way going after our dreams and going halfway through it and not feeling supported. And there's the other way that says, I can go after my dreams and I know I am so supported. I'm divinely guided and supported. And I regularly make time to attune into the guidance, to receive the guidance. And ultimately, a very important thing is that you become service driven. Priestesses are service driven. They want to contribute to the collective, they want to contribute to the world in a way. They want to build a legacy. Also, a very priestessy word. They want to build a legacy that creates positive impact in the world. So that's why I'm so passionate about having women reclaim this part of their personality, of their psyche, the priestess, the wise woman that is ready to go higher in positions of leadership. Okay. And before we go into the meditation today, I will share one more thing, that there were at least two eras of persecution of the priestesses. What is called the priestesses in ancient times later on became the wise women, which got reduced to the word witch. I cannot tell you how afraid I was of this word growing up, only to find myself reclaiming it in my senior years. That, and by the way, the word witch, the root of it is actually wise woman. So in the medieval times, there was an even bigger persecution of the divine feminine wisdom. That's why, by the way, a part of the society today is overly focused on objectifying women as objects of desire, and that's all. They don't speak about our wisdom, and we have so much wisdom that is coming back and flowing through each woman nowadays. I see teenagers when I travel or here locally. I see teenager girls being curious to connect to their roots when it comes to wise woman practices. And I smile and I say, okay, it's coming back. We are here to reclaim it. And what the witch hunts actually created in the collective psyche is of again a deep-seated fear of gifts that are a little bit hors norme, as the French say, that are beyond the norm. Gifts that have to do again with healing, with empathy, with heart healing, with communication, with energy work. And secondly, it created um, a tendency for people to tell on one another, to spy on one another, because these women were um, sometimes their trust was broken by loved ones, by other sisters who had to fight for their lives by giving on another sister, by giving the name of another sister, and so on and so forth. And again, I refer here to the feminine, but men too, who have had such lives, carry this wound. Not to mention the men who were who were the husbands of those women. There's a book, another beautiful book that I'm reading. I started reading it, but it's like, oof, um, it's bringing up like even a lot of grief to go through it. It's called The Last Witch of Boston, and it refers to the witch hunts in America, in Boston. And the whole book is written through the perspective of the husband who lost his beloved, who was so in love and who was cherishing her, who was her deep pillar of support. And it's so moving actually to read a book that's written from the perspective of the man who lost his beloved. So beautiful. Anyways, just to mention that there were at least two eras, the 2000 years ago and 1,000 years ago, that had this persecution of women, of wise women happening globally, because it's happened everywhere. I'm gonna read through some comments here. Okay, Jolanda is saying that everywhere as a woman, people think we are worthless. Well, I hope not everywhere, but definitely there's, I would say, tendencies. Some people, I see them acting irrationally, in the sense of they have this inner impulse in job interviews. Maybe they favor more the man who has the same pedigree as the woman. Uh, but luckily, that's not always the case. Women are against, well, my dear, I think key one will be very relevant in this case. Definitely. Let me share key one. I'm going to go back to the slides because I will say that complaining about what has happened, guess what, will not help us a lot. It will actually create more of. So, key one to awakening our inner priestess and claiming back our power is actually self-responsibility and self-growth, ownership of our lives. So, the most important thing, I will tell you this, ladies, the most important thing I have done for my life when I started taking ownership of my life and I started going into the entrepreneurship journey is to notice where and when I was in victimhood mentality. This is happening to me. People, or I don't know, this friend is against me. They're not supporting my journey. When I was in victimhood mentality, or when I was in savior mentality, such as I want to offer everything for free. That is savior mentality, I'm here to help everybody. No, you're not. We are here to help ourselves first, put our own oxygen masks first, and then help another or others. And those others, some of them will feel deeply, I will tell you this, will feel deeply triggered sometimes by you or what you're offering. Your soul tribe, your soul family, and that includes people you work with, your clients, will recognize you as a deep resonance in their heart. And they will know you speak truth and they will resonate with your words. For every teacher, for every healer, for every coach, for every leader, there is a soul tribe, and there are also naysayers. That's okay. That's how the world is structured today. The best thing we can do for ourselves is to come out of the victimhood mentality that says everything is happening to me, and or of the savior mentality that says I'm here to save everybody. No, you're not. Or come out of the persecutor mentality, which, by the way, I don't see so many women in unless they bicker and talk badly about somebody else. So, gossip is the type of persecutor mentality. Persecutor means, yes, it's you over another by any means. So, coming out of these mentalities into a truer and more beneficial mentality for you, which is how is this for me? How is everything that's happening in my life for me right now? So when somebody is at the, let's say, at bottom, rock bottom, or has hit rock bottom, and asks themselves, how is this helping me? How is this for me? That forces them to look at what are all the ways in which maybe they're not supporting themselves, they're not listening to their heart or to their impulses that say, hey, there's a better avenue for you. Come out of this situation and do something else. Because I will tell you this, there is nothing we cannot achieve. There is nothing we cannot be. I know this may sound masculine, but the feminine and the masculine converge ultimately. They come together in inner union. There's nothing we cannot be, there's nothing we cannot achieve, there's no external obstacle that can hold us down from achieving our dreams if we truly, really believe in ourselves and we keep moving forward with love and compassion and gentleness for ourselves. And again, we keep moving forward. We may have periods, yes, in our lives when we have to journey through grief, through trials and errors. But ultimately, it's our spirit is divine, our soul is divine. It's having this beautiful incarnation, this beautiful human experience, and knowing and constantly reminding yourself that you are divine is the prerequisite to you actually remembering that there is nothing you cannot do or achieve or be. So the priestess path is first guided by this remembrance. I am divine. There is nothing I cannot be, do, or achieve. And I'm going to pull myself out of this is happening to me and go into the type of thinking that says, this, how is this for me? And then how can I allow the universe and my skills and talents and virtues to flow through me? Through me is again the next level. Through me. How can things happen and flow through me? So that means that the best thing you can do for yourself is commit to your own self-mastery. So picking yourself up and I speak this because I've also been in periods in my life where I had to pick myself up. Committing to self-mastery, committing to listen and act. The second thing is committing to listen and act upon your higher intuition. That means making space for you to meditate, to be in nature. Nature is a great that's why you feel so refreshed when you go for a walk or you sit under a tree, especially now in spring. It's so beautiful. Nature is I would say, equalizer. It's kind of a rebalancer. It rebalances the two hemispheres of your brain it brings them back into harmony. It grounds you. So your mind cannot race elsewhere. So, taking time to go into nature, to listen to your intuition and acting upon it. Because ultimately, I will say this, the best self-care is not what we have been told, bubble baths and bubble gums. No, I'm joking. Bubble baths and, you know, Netflix movies. That can work, I'm just entering my moon time, so I'm gonna do a little bit of that in the evening. That can work, but it cannot work forever. The best self-care you can do for yourself is actually going after your dreams because that shows you care for yourself. That's the best self-care, going after your dreams one by one. Does this resonate, ladies? We're gonna go into key two, which is the meditation. Let me see. I'm gonna stop and pause here and actually ask you to share. How are you feeling after this first key? And also about how are you feeling about the shares about the priestesses that we've been through right now?
I'll share. It's just wonderful also just to remember what really taking my power back is. So, because I love where you said best self-care is going after your dreams.
Hmm.
Um, and even just to do what made me think is as I'm sitting here, I'm listening to you, but I'm also doing I'm doing a few of my PT exercises, but I never do them when I'm supposed to do them. So it's
Oh,
like,
cool.
I mean, I'm listening to you, but I realized it was like, okay, there actually are things you've been told that you can make you feel better and can make you stronger, but you're not necessarily doing them. I'll do the self-soothing or the easy thing.
Hmm.
So it's just so two things is going after my dreams, but also sometimes doing things that maybe aren't this is the thing I really love or want to do, but I know it is going to forward
Yeah.
my dream and being stronger. So that's what I've
Yes. I was talking today to my beautiful soul sister that you know, Meredith Magdalena, and we were reflecting on a quote that we both love. I forgot from whom I heard it first, but this is something that truly resonated powerfully when I first heard it. That self-discipline is the best act of self-love.
mm,
Self-discipline is self-love. So when we kind of, as I was sharing earlier, pull ourselves up to finally get those tasks done, then we can enjoy the air and go for a walk, you know? So self-discipline is actually self-love. I totally resonate with that. And it goes to what you were sharing. Yeah, beautiful.
and let the other thing just quickly is witches. Like
Yes.
I actually did also think differently in the last 5 years about witches. Like I'd love to be a witch.
I see more teenagers interested in like I see them buying books about witches and I'm like, whoa.
Yeah,
My in my time if I had done that, my granny would have thrown me out
yeah,
of the house now. But yeah, they're more free to explore now. Yeah, they feel
yeah. I
freer
believe
to explore.
in Salem it was probably just a lot of enlightened women healers like us.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
True. And the whole culture is saying is changing. Thank you, Meredith, for sharing that. I will say this because we have two ladies from Romania, three with me here in the call. I was recently in Romania this past week to celebrate my mom's 72nd birthday, bless her. And I passed by, walking in Bucharest, I passed by the National History Museum. And I was shocked. I'm getting chills now when I remember. I even took a photo of it. They had a collection of stories in front of the National History Museum, which was about the burned witches in Romania in the medieval times that I had no clue about. I was like, whoa, first of all, it's cool because the National History Museum is publishing this. Second of all, it's super cool because I was aware with the heavy witch hunt happening in Western Europe and also in Salem in the US. I didn't know about Eastern Europe and having witches persecuted as well that much, but it apparently we did. So yeah, it's still happening at the National History Museum, ladies, in Bucharest. There's still time to see it. So yeah, thank you for that beautiful share, Meredith. And well, I've decided to kind of spin things a little bit around, and I'm gonna quickly share before we go into the meditation. Oh, Sidonia is sharing. Yes, please. Please go ahead and share, Sidonia. I remember reading a book about the witch hunt and persecution of witches. Yeah, it's true. In Romania, Dej. So that's in Transylvania for all the ladies here, which apparently was famous for witchery. Yeah, most of the stories I was reading on the pavement in front of the National History Museum were about Transylvanian witches. Fascinating. Bless them. I feel they're actually laughing and celebrating with us right now. I hope I am one of them. That's so sweet. Amazing. Yeah, we all have had some lives associated to that, definitely. Yeah, so if you have any other shares, please don't hesitate to unmute yourselves as I reshare my slides. So we're gonna actually go into the meditation in a moment. I want to share one more thing about key one, that your relationship to yourself. Can you see, ladies, how your relationship, from everything we were talking about earlier, your relationship to yourself is actually the holy grail of your evolution. And that's what Mary Magdalene is here to help us with, to activate our authentic self-leadership. And so I would love to ask you, before we go into the meditation, um, to reflect on this. What do you feel is the number one block in your expressing your authentic leadership in the world? That's a deep one. And I will take notes because I want to include that in the theta healing we're going to do in a moment.
Can you ask the question one more time, Alina?
What is the number one block that you feel has you've been confronted with when it comes to self-leadership? Sidonia is sharing, believing I'm fully worthy of it. Yes. Yes, I've been there as well, and I believe it's one that's been instilled in many women. Fear, okay, fear. I'm gonna write that down. Worthiness. I've met women that Meredith is sharing, believe I have the means, finances. Yes, finances. It also kind of comes back to actually, it's not only worthiness. The means, the finances is sometimes related to its safety. That's what I wanted to touch upon. That there's a lot of women sometimes that come to work with me that have this like maybe past lives belief that it's not safe to earn from this activity. Uh, if I share my, her voice, like even healing, there's women now doing healing songs, like things that have to do with healing, with reharmonizing, with empowerment of others, and it doesn't feel safe to earn from that activity. So, yes, definitely. Safety or to earn from feminine activities in a sense, but it's all childhood trauma repeating. Yeah. So, childhood trauma, so family beliefs. Yeah, also. Great. Now, safety in general feels massive. Yeah, safety. Is it safe? Um, it's funny because some of the in my one-on-one journey, in my one-on-one journeys, my one-on-one coaching, I the women that I work with are like top tech, top energy sector in Europe. Like if you met them in person and you would see them, you would think, they would never meditate or they would, but secretly, this is what the most, like I would say, powerful women are starting to do. They're starting to connect to practices such as meditation, energy management, creating healthy boundaries around themselves and around their energy and around their time. So they're resonating more and more. We are waking up at all levels in society to the fact that this is wholesome. The holistic work, I would say, is wholesome work and it's benefiting us and all. So, I want to share very quickly something that is very beautiful, and then we'll go into the meditation because I really, really don't want to leave it to the very end. And that is the fact that I have prepared a very sweet surprise for the ladies who want to go deeper into the journey with Mary Magdalene and have also been curious to explore at some point in their journey more about the heart chakra and Glastonbury. So this year I have put together a beautiful retreat called the Magdalenes, as per the beautiful community of guides that appeared to me in Glastonbury, and that were referring to the priestesses, the Magdalene priestesses, the priestesses that were initiated specifically in the lineage of Mary Magdalene and the Druidic Celtic priestesses. And the title that came through for it is Lean into and Live Your Purpose, the Magdalenes Retreat. This is when I'm doing it this year. I know it's very, very short notice, 7 to the 10th of May, 2026. But that's when I could actually get the retreat center where we will be in this spring in Glastonbury. It's called the Rising Phoenix Retreat Center in Glastonbury, and it's a very, very beautiful location. Uh, I've also prepared very nourishing and very beautiful packages available to all budgets. I want to just quickly mention the practices we'll be doing and where we will be going. It's a 4 days retreat, and we'll be going, it's both a pilgrimage. Yeah, we will be going through the sacred sites in Glastonbury in the heart chakra of the earth, as well as we will be uh, connecting to our soul purpose and our soul mission. So you will experience trips to sacred sites such as the Glastonbury Abbey, which is where the tomb of King Arthur is, and that is the place connected to sacred Avalon and the Avalon court. We will be going to the Tor, the famous hill where the ley lines represent energy lines on earth. The ley lines of Archangel Michael and Mother Mary are intersecting. And there's also the Magdalene Fields. By the way, guess what? When I first went to Glastonbury, I've been there twice. When I first went through to Glastonbury, I saw on the map and I was magnetically drawn to the Magdalene Fields. There's nothing but pure grass and trees there, but somehow the energy it holds is so beautiful. And I did beautiful, beautiful meditation there. So the Tor, the Magdalene Fields, and of course the Chalice Wells, which is this beautiful sacred site dedicated to the divine feminine, where the red spring and the white spring meet and intersect. The red spring refers to the fact that like you can see it here in the picture, there's water filled with a lot of iron springing forth from the earth in this beautiful sacred place, the Chalice Wells. You'll be learning more about Mary Magdalene's time on the British Isles and the Druidic Celtic Magdalene priestess lineage. We'll be connecting as well to other guides like Ascended Master Merlin. And we'll be doing vision quests and life mapping sessions. So I will be combining my leadership coaching also with my own technique, the life mapping session, and you'll also receive your own personal numerology chart. You'll be connecting to your own loving and empowering spirit guides. And this retreat also involves you receiving a one-on-one Akashic Records reading, either before or after the retreat, as you prefer it, where you will receive more guidance from your own team of guides. And you'll also you will be able to ask any questions you want to them when it comes to your purpose and your mission and the next steps of your journey. We'll be doing meditations to activate the inner codes of divine union, the divine feminine and divine masculine. You'll be getting the chance to experience my 7 chakras sacred feminine dance. There's going to be breath work and Kundalini activation, as well as beautiful storytelling visits to the sacred sites. So it's 4 beautiful days and three nights. These are some of the sites that I mentioned earlier. Here is the Glastonbury Abbey, the Chalice Wells, the Tor Hills. And there's 2 packages available at the moment. Very, very, very affordable, since this is the first time that I'll be running this retreat, and I prefer having actually a beautiful, larger, beautiful group of women coming to experience the whole journey of the Magdalenes Retreat. The package with accommodation is 150 euros, also payable in 2 installments, if you prefer it. And the package without accommodation is 350 euros, which is super, 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 super beautiful and very affordable. Also available to pay in 2 installments. So if you want to do a first installment now and another one next month, that's very possible. I will say the following, that Going together in the sacred pilgrimage and journey is going to be super beautiful. And you'll have me as your guide to the sacred sites. And at the same time, I'll make sure to have special time in the schedule so that you can go wandering on your own and experience your own connection to these beautiful sacred lands. And also to the Magdalene lineage. So that's what I wanted to quickly share. And if you have questions, don't hesitate to reach out after the call. Now, this is the second key to awakening our inner priestess. As I mentioned earlier, the second key is truly allowing ourselves to heal the priestess wound, which is the persecution wound, the feeling safe, the feeling worthy, eliminating that fear that you mentioned earlier, and feeling safe to also earn more from skills and talents that have to do with the holistic part of life. So that's what we'll be doing in the meditation just now, releasing the priestess wound and activating, owning this archetype for yourself. So before we go into the meditation, which is going to be around 15 minutes, I want to ask you if you need a break, a loo break. Shall we do that? Do you need one? You can type it in the chat or unmute yourself.
Just 1 minute would be great.
Great. Yes, let's do that. I will be back too. I'm sending you a heart because you took this time for yourself today, and I do hope you learned new things that will be loving and empowering on your journey moving onwards. And I will say, speaking about the Magdalenes Retreat in the UK, just before everybody comes back, that I do plan to do it every year from now on. However, this is the only time I'm offering these super affordable packages to the women joining, especially since it's more short notice. I know, 7th to the 10th of May, just to encourage more participation. But it's a very good deal, I will say so. Me back in 2019, I would have been like, hey, count me in. Super beautiful. And I didn't have actually a guide back then, which would have been in some instances very helpful. Okay, is everybody back? Can we check? And can you type yes in the chat? Or raise your hand? I see one yes. Yes. Around that date. Ah, okay. No worries, Yolanda. That's okay. That's good. You're moving out. That's actually great news. You are taking steps aligned with what you are receiving. That's beautiful, my dear. Okay, I see everybody's back. Let's go into the meditation then. So I'm encouraging you to rub your hands. Let's start by like this. This time, rub your hands and then shake your arms and bring them up. And we're gonna stretch. We're gonna start by stretching. Again, roll your shoulders back. Tap. I want you to tap on your legs as you bring yourself back from the mind back into the body, and then tap into, I would say, tap on any part of your body that needs a little bit more special care and attention. So tapping is very good for grounding because we're going to go on a journey. Okay, and when you're ready, once again, roll your shoulders back. For this meditation, you can actually even roll down on your bed, do anything that feels really nourishing and good for you, inviting you to simply relax and experience this beautiful theta healing and receive it. The intention is to heal and release to the divine all the, I mean, any priestess wounds that you may have experienced in this or other lifetimes, to release all the blocks you mentioned, and to claim back your full power and your full inner priestess, inner wise divine woman. Okay, so when you're ready and when you're settled, I'm inviting you to take a deep, deep breath into your womb center, your power center, into your heart. Exhaling the air out through your mouth. And a deep, deep, another deep breath into your womb, into your heart. Exhaling the air out through your mouth. And now, with your eyes closed, I'm inviting you to bring your attention to your heart center. And we're going to start by connecting to the glowing light inside of your heart. Connecting to the glowing light inside of your heart, the warmth, the love. And if you need to ground even deeper into your heart, you can, just for the beginning part, bring a hand to your heart, allowing this warmth, this gentleness of your heart to be with you, and saying thank you to your heart for all the times it stood by you, for all the times it blessed you, for all the times it supported you, and it's always, always, always here with you. And for all the connection to your higher self that it provides to you every day. Thank you, blessed heart. And then bringing your hand down, you can allow this beautiful light inside of your heart to grow and expand into all of your body, illuminating all cells in your body. Illuminating you, going and pouring even out into your aura. Beautiful, shining light like an inner sun glowing from your heart outwardly. And then simply allow this light also to reach down into your legs, your feet, your knees, and into your feet. And from the bottom of your feet, there is a beautiful column of light, white light that extends deep into the earth. And it goes all the way to the epicenter of the earth, the core, the heart of Mother Earth. So through your feet, you're now connected to the heart of Mother Earth. And you're invited to take a journey through your own column of light, past layers and layers of earth, all the way deep down to the center, the core of Mother Earth. And here Mother Earth greets you. She greets and welcomes each and every one of us in circle here, gathered today. And she blesses you to receive the wisdom, to continue to receive the wisdom of your heart, the wisdom of your soul. She blesses you to have access to your She calls you the talented woman powers. Wow. I'm hearing from Mother Earth that some women have, shied away from their priestess powers. And so she invites you to simply look at it and feel it and receive it as your talented woman powers. So Mother Earth is now blessing you to always have access, easy and loving access that supports you in your life, in your mission, in your work, to your talented inner woman powers. Your inner talented woman powers. That's the priestess, the talented you. And to always use these powers for the highest and greatest good. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, Mother Earth. So you're receiving these wisdom and blessings, infinite blessings from Mother Earth, and taking them with you, saying thank you to Mother Earth and blessing her back. We're now being invited to take your reconnect to your column of light and bring that wisdom, those blessings from Mother Earth back up with you, taking back the journey through the same column of light that brought you deep into the earth, bringing that all the way up to you, up past layers and layers of earth, all the way up into your feet, into your legs, into your knees, into your pelvic floor, opening and blessing the root chakra, receiving all these blessings from Mother Earth into your root, opening and blessing the sacral chakra, the womb, your womb power, receiving these blessings into your womb, opening and blessing the solar plexus, receiving these blessings into your solar plexus, opening and blessing the heart chakra, opening and blessing the throat chakra, receiving all these blessings, opening and blessing the third eye, your visionary thinking and living, and opening and blessing your crown chakra, receiving all these blessings in all your body, in your crown, in your luminous, beautiful body. And we are surrounded right now by the blessings and the presence as well of the Magdalenes, beautiful priestesses, as well as the ascended Mary Magdalene herself, together with her beloved Yeshua. And they are now inviting you to receive a gift. So each of you is guided to receive a gift from them. You can perceive this gift in any way that feels good to you. You can see it or feel it or hear it or kinesthetically feel it. Receive the gift from Mary Magdalene and Yeshua, Jesus, for you. And Mother Mary and all the Magdalenes priestesses are also with us. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. So once you've received your own gift, you're being invited now to see and perceive a beautiful, glowing sphere of light that is hovering above your head. So this sphere of light, you can give it a color that feels nice and fun and loving to you. And once you've given it a color, you're invited to step inside this sphere of light. And we will all travel all the way up to the divine plane. All the way up to the divine plane. Once you have now stepped inside your own beautiful sphere of light, you can make it bigger if you wish. You're surrounded by your own team of guardian angels and the Magdalenes and the beautiful guides that are with us here today. And you're being invited to simply float and lift off from where you are. We're all floating and lifting off beyond the house you're in, lifting off beyond the city you're in, floating even higher up into the atmosphere, beyond the country you're in. And much like glowing lights in our own spheres of light, we are floating now even beyond the continents we're in and beyond the earth, floating high up as a circle of light into the stars and the galaxies. And beyond the stars and the galaxies, we now travel through dimensions and dimensions, accompanied by our spirit guides. And we reach the plane of the spirit guides, where you receive infinite blessings from your own team of spirit guides. And beyond that, we go into the plane of the universal laws, infinity laws. Rainbow-like colors await you here. And even beyond this plane, this dimension, you can see some pink clouds that open towards a bright white window of light. And this window of light is huge, it's widely open, and the most beautiful pearlescent white light is streaming through this window of light. So you're being invited to go through in your own sphere of light, to pass through this window of light. It feels so serene and peaceful here. And we now find ourselves in the divine plane. Here it's safe to step outside your sphere of light, and I ask the infinite, pure, loving source, creator, creatrix, to bless you, my dears, to bless all of us and lift us high up into the highest vibration and highest dimension. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And so it is, and it is so, and it is done. And I ask, and we ask the infinite, pure, loving source to bless you, my dear, to bless us all and release now, once and for all, from our fields of energy, from all of us. Release any and all old, outdated, old imprinting of priestess wounding, wise woman, witch wounding, and any and all old imprinting that says it's not safe to be in our powers, it's not financially making sense to share your gifts and your talents, that you're not worthy to receive, that you're not worthy to be who you are, not worthy to win from your gifts, to receive back by sharing your gifts. All of that, I'm hearing mumbo jumbo, all of that old, karmic, distorted imprinting is extracted out of you, out of your field of energy, all of it out of you, out now, and sent back to the divine for it all to be cleansed, healed, transmuted, and transformed now once and for all and forever on a basic level, genetic level, historic level, and soul level, now once and for all and forever, and across all times, dimensions, spaces, and realities. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And so it is, and it is so, and it is done with the utmost ease and gentleness and love and health and well-being and care for you and for all. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And so it is, and it is so, and it is done. And I ask the infinite, pure, loving source, creator, creatrix, that you are receiving, and we're all receiving right now, so much health, wealth, love for yourself, love for your journey, access, easy access, loving access that supports you, truly supports you on your path, on your mission, access to your gifts, to your purpose, to your highest dreams manifested here on earth, and access to guidance, continuous access to guidance from within and also all around you. Access to your guides whenever you want to, with ease and grace and health and well-being in a way that is loving and respectful and blessing to you and to your life, for you and for your life. And you're receiving now a shower, a cleansing shower from the divine, like a waterfall. You can see and sense and perceive a waterfall of light, of divine light, showering down on all of you. All your body, physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, all your bodies are being cleansed and washed away of any residues that are sent back to the divine, for it all to be cleansed, healed, transmuted, and transformed now, once and for all and forever, on a basic level, genetic level, historic level, and soul level, and across all times, dimensions, spaces, and realities. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And so it is, and it is so, and it is done. And you're also receiving from infinite, pure, loving source access to your own divine wisdom, here now, once and for all, with the utmost ease and grace and health and well-being for you and for all. It is done now, once and for all, on a basic level, genetic level, historic level, and soul level, and across all times, dimensions, spaces, and realities. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And so it is, and it is so, and it is done. And in the final step of this meditation, Theta Healing, you're being invited to see somewhere in the distance, perceive somewhere in front of you, a beautiful, angelic, divine presence that is your own inner priestess, talented woman, your own embodiment of this beautiful, talented woman / priestess archetype. What is she wearing? What are you wearing right now? How is she walking? How is she standing tall in her gifts, in her power? And what can you perceive and feel that she senses about her worth, that she is actually, not only senses? What can you sense, perceive, and feel that she is and stands for when it comes to her worth? What's her relationship to her worth? What's her relationship to her finances? Maybe you can hear a whisper from her or see and sense. What's her relationship to her finances? And what's her relationship to her future? Is she trusting her future? Is she confident and loving and enthusiastic, joyful about her future? Any residues, anything that says she's not confident or joyful about her future, I want you to hear now, once and for all, release it back to the divine, see it, lift it off from her, cleansed, healed, and sent back to the divine, for it all to be cleansed, healed, transmuted, and transformed, now, once and for all and forever, on a basic level, genetic level, historic level, and soul level, with the utmost ease and grace and health and well-being for you and for all, and now, once and for all, across all times, dimensions, spaces, and realities. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It is so, and it is done, and it is so beautifully done. And now, if it feels loving and safe for you, you can see your own light priestess, your own light being in front of you, coming closer to you. And you can extend both hands so you can join hands, and she can flow through her wisdom to you, back into you. And if it feels safe and loving to you, you can even lovingly embrace her, lovingly embrace this inner goddess that is you, that was never apart from you, that was always you. And you can see one another melting into each other, into being reunited again. Now, this wealth, this wisdom, this love of your own inner priestess, own inner talented woman, own inner goddess is back with you and has never been apart from you. And is done now once and for all on a basic level, genetic level, historic level, and soul level with the utmost ease and grace and health and well-being for you and for all across all time, spaces, dimensions, and realities. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And so it is, and it is so, and it is done. And you can see once again the cleansing shower of light if it feels good for you, optional. This cleansing waterfall of light from the divine. Now it's a golden waterfall. Wow. I'm seeing and sensing and receiving for you all, for us all right now, a golden waterfall of light from the divine that is empowering also your abundance, your health, your well-being, that of you and of your loved ones. See yourself bathing in this waterfall of golden light, of gold light from the divine. It is done now once and for all on a basic level, genetic level, historic level, and soul level, and across all times, dimensions, spaces, and realities. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And so it is, and it is so, and it is so beautifully done for you, my loves. You can now gently bring a hand to your heart and a hand to your womb, saying thank you to the divine, to your spirit guides who assisted you on this journey today, and also to Mary Magdalene, Yeshua, the Magdalenes lineage. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And gently starting to take deeper breaths into your womb, into your heart, and deeper breaths out through your mouth. Taking another deep, deep breath in through your womb, in through your mouth. Exhaling all the air out. And a final deep, deep breath in through your womb, in through your heart. Exhaling all the air out as you bring yourself back from the journey. This was a very deep meditation. I preferred, yes, to go a little bit over time as I was being guided to add beautiful empowerment to it. I never know what will happen when we go up in the divine plane, but always beautiful things happen. So we're gonna wrap up today by sharing. You may feel you're still in that divine space, full of light. So you can share anything that you feel is on your heart right now as we wrap up the call. I would love to hear that. As you gently come back. I'm gonna bring it back to screen mode. Hello, hello. How do you feel? Beautiful goddesses, beautiful ladies. I see Jolanda. She wrote a thank you. You're very welcome, dear. Very, very welcome. And as you come back from the meditation, I'm gonna just share the very, very last slide that you can take a photo of. These are recommended practices for deepening your journey with your inner priestess. These are the recommended practices. You can take a screenshot. I have in my house an altar dedicated to my journey, to my visions, to what I've seen. I'm here to create as a legacy in the world. So I encourage you to create your own altar to your own inner goddess. That doesn't mean, of course, that you separate from the divine in any way. No, you acknowledge yourself as the divine being that you are. This is, you can see it also as another way to play with vision boards, right? This altar is another way to play with vision board because it's a manifestation tool. When you add to it your beautiful visions of what you're here to create. And the second practice is you can cultivate joy daily by writing in your journal what are some of the things that bring you most joy. And even if you do 2 of those things per month, that is great. Thirdly, you can connect to what you feel called to create and take one tangible step in that direction every week. And final practice of connection to your inner priestess. This is super, 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 super duper cool. I highly, 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 highly recommend it. That when you have more time over the next few weeks, you can find a moment to write yourself a channeled letter from your future self, giving you advice for where you are now and how to navigate this time that you're in and blessings. So the way to do that is you can call it automatic writing. There's no right or wrong. You simply intend to connect to your future self who is already there where you want to be and write from that perspective advice for where you are today and blessings, you know? This is such a nourishing practice. And it's so funny that I had 22 slides prepared for today. And that's a very funny synchronicity because I cannot help but recognize that the feast of Mary Magdalene is celebrated each year on the 22nd of July. And 22nd is a master number in numerology. It represents the master architect, the one who builds intentionally heaven on earth. Especially because that's what Mary Magdalene and Yeshua were building, and that's what we are building when we go after our dreams. We build heaven on earth. So I really want to leave you with that particular um, share that we are here to build heaven on earth. And I'm going to quickly read through the comments. Meredith is sharing that she's relaxed, felt a bit asleep. Yes, 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 that's great. No worries, Meredith. That's the theta brainwave state. So when we go from beta, which is the active state, when we go into a meditative state, that's usually beta, the beta brainwave state. The theta brainwave state is when we're almost, dozing or dozing off, when we're just about to drop into sleep or waking up in the morning. That's the theta. And some people can reach it very easily, and others have a hard time to reach theta, but that's okay. No matter how the meditation was for you, ladies, that's absolutely okay. But that's the theta brainwave state. And a lot of people, after they experience a theta healing session with me, they can't remember everything that was in it. And I say that's fine because it's a method to reprogram the subconscious. I believe my soul still yes, your soul received it fully, and Yeshua and Mary gave me the gift of protection. Oh, that's so beautiful. I love that. And Jolanda is sharing, it helped me to see what's coming and to get away from the unbearable pain. Bless you, Jolanda. Yes, yes, yes. So it is. And I believe you can write that letter from your future self to yourself. Now. It's to you now. It's so important. And Cosmina is sharing, I loved the golden shower of light. It felt so immensely powerful. Yes, as it fell over me and my lovely mother. Yes, I felt it. I saw our families there as well. They were receiving this golden light. 22 is your absolute favorite number since you were a small child. That's amazing. And knowing you, Cosmina, and I definitely, and all of you who are here actually on the call today have this. I have a very strong inkling you're here to be a master architect. Not in the sense of building buildings, but a master architect of something that is deeply supportive on Earth right now. And it doesn't, when I speak this, referencing it to everybody here, deeply supportive doesn't mean that we necessarily have to reach a global scale. Like we are, how many are we in the room today? We are those who are meant to be here live. One, two, five right now. So the hearts and the souls that are will benefit from what you're building are the exactly the ones you're meant to reach. And it's beautiful. And you don't know how many, through those people, how many others you are actually impacting as well. So definitely 22 is about building legacies. Yes, yes, totally. 22 is the master architect of heaven on earth. So yeah, so beautiful. I love your shares. I loved the time with you today. And I'm sending you many, many blessings and lots of love, and hope to see some of you on the journey, on the pilgrimage to Glastonbury this year, if you can make it. In the meantime, have a wonderful, wonderful, and blessed Sunday, and I'll see you soon. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank
You.
you, ladies. Bye bye.